Hey there friends, it's Megan Andrew and I'm so excited to be here today to show you the Cut the Cake bundle. Now this bundle includes a die set, an amazing stencil pack, and a stamp set. So let's just take a look. You can see that the die set here cuts out the cake shape. It cuts out candles, sparklers, a sentiment that says eat cake and celebrate that you can have sticking out of your cake. It cuts the circles for the candles. It cuts the cake stand with the top, and it cuts some banners for your sentiment. It is such an awesome die set. We also have the Cut the Cake stencil pack. And what I love about this stencil pack is that it not only colors in your cake fully, but it also can do an amazing sentiment background. And it's really large and fun too. So many different stencils here. It's an awesome stencil pack. You get 6 in this pack. Then your Cut the Cake stamp set has really awesome sentiments that could be for birthdays or any kind of celebration. So it's a good day for cake is for any kind of celebration. Happiest of birthdays to you. May all your wishes and dreams come true. Then you have Let's Celebrate, Hip Hip Hooray, wishing you the biggest slice of happiness, which I love, and then some confetti. So I'm going to be sharing how I created this card with you. I shared this card in a live with Greg Cottrell from Concord 9th on the SCT Magazine YouTube channel. And I wanted to show you step by step how I made it because it is so easy and fun to create. So let's go and create a card. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do here is cut the cake shape out of 110 Neenah Solar White cardstock and the plate, the cake plate, so the top and the base of the cake plate from Aqua Sky cardstock. I wanted this card to have a little bit of dimension to it, so not just have it be all ink blended, but to have a combination of dyes and ink blended areas. So I wanted my cake to be cut out to kind of stick off of that card front a little bit. And let me do my cake stand here. Okay. Now that we have this die cutting out of the way, then we can get to coloring our cake. So what I've grabbed here to help me in my blending is my all-in-one Turnabout jig. I'm using it as a sticky mat here to keep my die cut in place. Each of the stencils from the Cut the Cake bundle have layer numbers at the bottom. So I'm starting with layer 1, and this is pretty easy to line up with the stencil. So you can see here, layer 1, I'm lining up kind of those bubbles on the cake, and layer 1's top bubble is going to go in that second bubble area. My little bubble down here is going to line up with the bottom of the cake, and then this bubble here is going to line up with the edge of the cake here. I'm just going to scoot it over the tiniest of tiniest bits, and then you can see that these bubbles line up with those rounded edges of the cake. So I'm going to take pink lemonade here. I'm going to tap off so that I'm not going in too dark, but obviously you could do these colors as saturated or as light as you want. I chose a color scheme that was really pretty and vibrant, has all the colors. It's kind of a alternative rainbow really, and revealed that one. So pretty. Next up we have Creamsicle for layer number 2. So I'm going to clean off my stencils a little bit later, not worry about them right now. I love that these dots overlap each other, so you get a little bit of that color overlapping too. Just lining up stencil number 2 there. Now, if you were doing this on an A2 piece of paper, there are little guidelines for you to line up your A2 piece of paper, and you can also die cut this after the fact. I just really like to have that die cut first. It's just a preference of mine. And I find that this stencil is really easy to line up with that die cut. So pretty. Next, I'm using Lemongrass for layer number 3. All right, look at this reveal. How pretty is that? And how fast is this coming together? Now, layer number 4 is on the same stencil as the sentiment. So make sure that if they're too close that you mask those off. I'm going to line up my dots first and then mask. I'm using mint tape from scrapbook.com just to cover that up, just in case. Layer number 4 is going to be Aqua Sky. So I'm going to take out my light teal brush for that one. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, I just love that. What a pretty cake. Okay, so now we're getting into the other cake pieces here. So we have layer 5. I'm just going to do the cake slices here on layer 5 since this part is going to go on my die cut piece. So this doesn't really need to be covered. It's just going to go on top of my Turnabout jig, but I am going to cover up where those candles are. So we're going to do the candles separately. And I want my cake to be a creamsicle cake. So I'm grabbing creamsicle again, and I'm going to go in here a little bit lightly. I don't want to go in too heavy and make it too orange. And you can see your cake slices there. Next up, I'm going to do the top of the cake. And this is one where I really want to get a very light touch. I'm going to line this V up with the cake slices that I've just done. And kind of line up the top there just like that with the top of the cake. I want to make this back side a little bit darker than the front side to get that really pretty variation of color. So to do that, I'm just focusing more on coloring that back part and letting the color just lightly fill in on the front. So really light touch there. Look at how pretty that is. And then I know where to put my candles later on. So that is my cake fully colored. It just took a couple of minutes and look how pretty it is. Okay, so I have cleaned off all of my stencils with rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to add some detail now. So this is layer 5, and this is the edge of the cake plate. To make it look more three-dimensional, you can add a darker edge to that cake plate. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to use the same color of ink so that it looks a little bit more realistic. So just keeping that in place using Aqua Sky. And I'm just going to run that color along here. What I do want to do is just cover this up just in case. Now, technically, my cake die cut is going to cover that up, but just in case it doesn't, we want to get that covered up. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Cute. Just adds a little bit of special touch. I'm going to do the same to the bottom. Now, on the die set, there is a small little place for that bottom so you could die cut it in a darker color, but on the stencil there isn't a smaller one. So you have your cake parts, you have your actual piece for, you know, the top of the cake stand, but there isn't a shadow for that smaller bit. So what I'm going to do is line it up Make sure that's stuck down. And line it up here. I'm going to go the left side first because I want that little bit of an edge. So I'm going to kind of slightly make this work for what I want to do here. Just a very slight lip on that. Again, using Aqua Sky. Okay, so I have that right side, and then I'm going to kind of move it to do the left side. This is not difficult. It's totally doable. It just takes you kind of moving the stamp around, the stencil around a little bit. And you can see where your last line went to. And just put it right back. And do that left side. And then when you're done, you'll have two even sides. See that? Isn't that great? So then you have your cake stand just like that. The one thing that I like to do is add a little bit of detail at the bottom of that top of the cake stand. And to do that, I'm grabbing these right here, the 3 circles. Now these are meant to color in like balls of light for your candles, but I'm going to take this circle, I'm going to place it at the bottom of the neck of where the top of the cake stand meets that base, because there's often kind of a rounded area there. And so I want there to be a little bit of a circle shadow. And so to do that, all I did was add that circle right there so that it gave you just that impression that that was there. And then I'm going to lightly color above it with Aqua Sky just to make that a little bit darker right there. It just adds a little bit of detail that makes it look a little bit more realistic. Okay, there's one more thing to stencil in, and that is my candles. So those are right here on stencil number 5, but I don't want the cake slices. I'm going to die cut these out. I also want to do them in 3 different colors, so I am going to mask off just the left and color that in with pink lemonade. So we're using pink lemonade, lemongrass, and Aqua Sky for these. And I found that using a regular size blending brush works fine, but if you have the smaller ones too, that will work as well. So there's my pink lemonade. I'm going to give that just a quick wipe, and then we can cover that one up and go with lemongrass. Let's cover up that right candle too. Lemongrass is a pretty saturated color, so easy to color that one in. I'm going to give that a quick wipe off, and then we can go in with our last color, which is Aqua Sky. And now we have our 3 candles that we can then die cut out to put on top of our cake. So all 3 of these die cut at the same time, which makes it extremely handy. So you just line up your die, tape on, and then we'll die cut that out. So there is one more thing I want to die cut out, and those are the sparkles from the die set, and I'm using gold glitter paper to do that. I have all of my die cuts here, but before we put our card together, I want to stamp my sentiment directly onto the cake. And on the stamp set, I love It's a Good Day for Cake, because that could be for any kind of celebration. And cake is so good. Who doesn't love cake? So I'm going to center that, make sure that it's kind of right there on that bottom edge where I did that shadow on that edge. Lift that up. Now this stamp has already been used, so it's pre season. It's pre-primed, so we shouldn't have any issues stamping here. I'm lightly pressing that and it's perfect. One pass and that's all we needed. Okay, so let's put our elements together. I'm going to go ahead and add my cake to my cake stand because I want to kind of gauge where this cake is going to lie on my card front, because I want to add a little bit of confetti too. And then attach that to the bottom of the cake stand. I'm using liquid glue from scrapbook.com for this. And then I can kind of set it on my card front and see where I want that to go. So I like having that kind of around the bottom because remember your candles are going to add a little bit of height to that. I like using liquid glue here because it gives you a few minutes, maybe a minute or two of just wiggle time. So you can wiggle things around a bit. Okay, so I can see where I want it to go, and even when I put my candles here, that still gives me a little bit of space, so I might pull that down. So we have about 3/8 of an inch here at the bottom of my card to where I can put my sparkles up there. Now what I'm going to do is grab the confetti, and I'm going to stamp a little bit of confetti around my cake in 3 different colors. And I'm going to do this kind of like so, and just move it out of the way when I'm ready to stamp. There's really no stamping platform needed for this part, kind of like right in there. Just like that. And then you have kind of a little trio. I think I might do another one right over here just to get it a little bit closer to the edge. There we go. Because it was a little covered up there. That looks so cute. This is definitely a cake that I would eat. One that I would choose for my birthday. And then we can place our candles on the top. These are a little bit harder to hold, so I'm grabbing my reverse tweezers to make it a little bit easier. And you can see where the stencil lines are on the top of your cake. That's where you should line up your candles. Might place that on top for just a second. And then our third candle here. And last but not least, we need our little sparkly candle toppers. So a celebration card wouldn't be complete without a few sparkles. So I'm just adding about 3, maybe 5 gold sequins here to the mix, just to add that little sparkle and shine and to match the candles at the top. And that finishes off a very quick and easy card created with the Cut the Cake bundle using the stencils and dies and stamp. Thank you so much for watching as I used the Cut the Cake bundle from Concord and 9th to create this fun celebration card for any occasion. I hope you'll check out all the products that I use in the video description below, and be sure to subscribe to see more card making videos. Thanks so much for watching, and happy creating!